we've learned this, that Dan Campbell's got us on the right track right here. A healthy kneecap and broccoli. And broccoli, you have to have the good balance of kneecaps and vegetables as well. So how are you doing today, Jeremy?
Fantastic. Anytime I get to talk, I'm good.
You love talk. You are probably one of the most avid football fans of all time, and that's what I was just talking about to the viewers, was that this is the time of year. This is May, right?
Right.
And we're
This
talking
is
about
when real football fans talk
uh,
football.
yeah, all the casual fans, they checked out right after the draft. I wouldn't even think that. I would even think that good fans watch the draft. Even the casual fans probably checked out after the Super Bowl. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
some of the casual fans watch the draft just because they're interested to see what their team gets. They can care less what the other team gets. And everybody always thinks their team had a fantastic draft, no matter how
Oh
good or bad
yeah,
it was.
this is
They
where we
buy in. They buy in. And
all the
every now
seventh
and
round
then,
picks, just like we
yeah.
did
I
yesterday.
mean, no, but Antoine Green was supposed to be a fourth round pick. So
Sure.
if
I
you think about how it fell, it's almost exactly the same that happened with Amon-Ra St. Brown.
well,
He
I'm
was
throwing
supposed
a
to be a
little bit.
second round pick, and he fell to the fourth round.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of weird stories like that all over, especially in this draft, where there appeared to be a lot of quote unquote reaches all over the place, dude.
Yeah,
Like
and
it was.
all sorts of trades back and forth by a lot of teams, not just the Lions, but there was 44 trades this draft. That's by far the most draft day trades ever.
The most draft day trades ever.
Ever
Ever.
in the length of the draft. That's the most draft day trades ever recorded, and the Lions were 8 of them.
I mean, that's cool. I mean, I like that kind of thing. And we've been arguing over, which teams got better. And we're kind of on this topic right here. You heard this. I mean, obviously you read everything that comes out, but here's this thing where you get this news out of the OTA that Jordan Love was struggling and getting frustrated during the camp. Now, is this something, if you're a Packer fan, are you worried about this?
You should be a little, because that means he may have a slower start than expected. He's been with the team 3 years. This is his 4th year, correct?
Right. I mean, so he should be. I mean, in all intents and purposes,
with
if I'm a
reading
Green
that,
Bay Packer fan, you've been here for 3 years. There's no learning curve here anymore.
I know what the bad part is in those 3 years. 3 different offensive coordinators already. What does that remind you of?
Not a recipe for success.
Exactly. Do you know who else had 3 different coordinators his first 3 years in the NFL?
Fire it out there, man.
Matthew Stafford.
Matthew Stafford. And Matthew Stafford, has God-given arm talent and was able to buck some of that trend, but he did have some bad seasons here.
Yeah, I mean, but he had some great seasons too. I mean,
yep.
If you look at, he had more good seasons than bad. But at the same time, we failed to keep a team that was cohesive around him.
So if you're a Green Bay Packer fan, you are a little bit worried on this. I'm waiting to hear from a Packer fan right there. Sleep on Green Bay. We're not sleeping on Green Bay.
They're a decent defense. They're a decent offense. The question mark is Jordan Love. Period.
Well, the question is, he struggled at OTAs. Aubrey, I'm proposing this question to you. Like, I'm not sleeping on Green Bay. I just know what Green Bay Packer fan would be saying if it was Jared Goff that was struggling in OTA. You guys would be down our throats. I'm not down your throat with this. I'm asking you a question.
Right.
Are you concerned of the struggles? Does that worry you? I mean, is that something that you should be worried? In my opinion, I don't put that much stock into May football. If he's struggling throwing the ball in some shorts, I don't know what they're doing out there. It's not like they're practicing in pads or anything like that.
here's the thing, Jack Kruger, and I understand your enthusiasm. He doesn't know the scheme because it's a new scheme. It's a new offensive coordinator.
You're talking about this cup. So Jordan knows the schemes. If he can read the defenses, get the ball close, we will be fine. Packer fan here. Okay. So you're not worried about it. So Jack is not worried about him struggling during OTA. I mean, I don't know why they just throw that news out there. It's not just clickbait, because then they would just throw clickbait out
came from
all
a Packers,
32 team.
It came from a Packers news site. It didn't come from a Lions news site. It didn't come from just the NFL. It came from a Packers beat writer. And yet, no, he's not still a rookie. He's going into his fourth season. He's had 3 years on the bench.
Let's just play around with what we might think Anthony's talking about here. Being a rookie, being his first year as the starter, he is going to go through that. Maybe not as much as the other people. And that brings us into one of the topics that we want to hit is week 1. You're playing the Chicago Bears, and there's a lot of hype on the Chicago Bears. So who do you think is going to win this week 1? You got a lot of moving pieces with the Chicago Bears. They brought in some offensive linemen and other playmakers. I understand they may be dynamic, but hold on. And okay, that was as long as I could go without getting a copyright infringement. I probably get one anyway. And it's Mike. It's Main Event. Mike is on a line. We want to check and make sure that we can hear you. How you doing, Mike?
Good. Can you hear me? Check.
I can hear you. And Jeremy biting kneecaps, he can hear you. So that tells me that the feed is coming through all the way through. And we're right in the meat and potatoes of this Jordan Love talk in OTA. We talked about it a little bit briefly, but Mike, I want you to give me your first thoughts on this news coming out of the Green Bay Packer camp.
Well, I mean, everybody wants to poo-poo it and say, oh, it doesn't mean anything, that, oh, he's not been accurate the first day of OTAs. Whoopie-doo, they're not in pads. There's no pass rush. This doesn't matter. I'm not so quick to poo-poo that away, because it might be telling. It might be telling of a slow start coming for Jordan Love. Let's face it, he's basically a rookie. I don't care how long he's been sitting on the bench. He hasn't had the reps on the field and game time action, and his receivers are all younger than him. So there could be a slow start on the way for the Packers. That's why I'm picking the Bears to upset the Packers in week 1.
Ooh, look at that. Is hot take. You heard that here first on the Main Event phone sessions, that Main Event Mike is picking the Bears to upset the Packers week 1. Who do you have in week 1? I want to know. You throw that into the comments. Whoever's listening now, we did go. We're live in the Green Bay Packer one of the Green Bay Packer groups. Oh, Aubrey says bullshit. We can say shit on here. We're not going to get too many.
Are we a TVMA or are we just a PG-13?
We're PG-13. Okay. I like being PG-13 all the way around. I can't really control the open mic, but when we come here for these phone sessions, we have a little more control.
That's why I asked that.
But I don't mind if you say that's bullshit. Why do you say that that's bullshit? Just because because Main Event Mike picked the Chicago Bears over your beloved Green Bay Packers? Is that why it's bullshit? Anthony Stewart says Bears 24. Wow. You're thinking that defense with no pass rush, Anthony Stewart. Who you got rushing the passer? I guess you're really hoping that Love is really, really bad. Oh my gosh. I think that we still own Chicago. I'm to that. I'm to that side because this is still the same Green Bay defense, guys. This isn't like
26th overall, one spot above the Lions. Just remember that.
Yeah, well, you love those PFF things.
Oh, I'm talking overall defensive ranking. They were 26th.
Well, I don't know. You might have to argue with a couple Packer fans over that. I'm sure that they'll show you some top 10 stats somewhere that they can bring up from.
Well, they were top 10 in spurts, just like we were. We had 2
So,
games where we were.
but what
considered
I'm
the top
saying
10.
is this is a Green Bay Packer defense that has owned Chicago. They beat Chicago twice last year. They had Justin Fields has not unlocked the Green Bay defense yet, and I understand. There's a lot of hype in there, and they put some resources into it, right? You got a bona fide number one in DJ Moore, who is a lot of experience in working with crappy quarterbacks. So he should fit right in to the Chicago Bear culture right
Yes.
there. But the thing is I think that's going to be a good valve. It's a good safety valve. I'm sorry, I'm leaving Mike Abraham way hanging on that. But what do you think about that, Mike?
Well, just to back up, did you say we are broadcasting into a Packers group?
We're broadcasting into a Packer group because we had Packer topics today, just because of that.
I thought I smelled cheese.
It did.
Yeah, it's called Fremunda. Fremunda us.
I think the fact I don't think the Packers own the Bears so much as Aaron Rodgers owns the Bears. And now that Aaron Rodgers is gone, it's a fresh start for the Bears to kind of get back in the race against for all of these teams in the North. The boogeyman is gone, and the chances of Jordan Love being a Hall of Famer like the last 2 quarterbacks in Green Bay are very slim. So this is a chance for, hopefully, for Lions and Bears and Vikings fans, hopefully the Pack can take a step back and dwell in the bottom of the division for a while. But you know what? I got to be honest. The way this team drafts and develops talent, the Green Bay Packers, it's scary. I mean, it is very possible they could jump out to an early start. And let's face it, the scheduler makers were very kind to the Packers, opening against the worst team in the league last year, the Bears. And then they get the Lions in week 4 after Love gets a few starts under his belt. And, I mean, that's going to bode well for Jordan Love before he has to face that Lions team, which is, by all accounts, projected to win this division. So definitely the football gods are always on Green Bay's side, it seems like. So it is kind of scary proposition. But, damn it, I think it's high time these Packers take a back seat, let someone else run the division for a while.
Well, I love that take. I mean, we love that take, but I don't think that Green Bay Packer fan loves that take. But you know what? You might have to face a little bit of reality, guys. I mean, you're going from a Hall of Fame quarterback, and you just seem to be, and you just seem to expect. I mean, I'm not saying that Jordan can't be good. All I'm saying is for you to expect the bar not to drop after losing a Hall of Fame quarterback and going to Jordan Love. I think that you're just kind of living in la la land a little bit. If you just think, and more power to you if you get 3 Hall of Fame quarterbacks in a row, but the chances of that are slim and none. What have you done for me lately? Which was 8-9. So Aaron Jones is a good piece too. I agree with that. You're gonna have to lean. You got to lean on that running game if you're going to be competitive this year. And I like Aaron Jones as a piece. I think that Dylan's a little overrated. And Quadzilla. I mean, he's got some power, but I mean, like I said, I always have this memory in my mind of Derek Barnes standing him up at the goal line, and that just tells me that that's what you do, and you got stood up. So I think it's a little overrated.
Yeah, it's for sure. Definitely, what's a young quarterback's best friend, right? It's a good defense and a running game, and they've got that. And the third thing that's a young quarterback's best friend is a good tight end, and they drafted 2. So this team knows, this organization knows what they're doing. General Manager Brian Goody done a pretty good job of doing it.
Oh my gosh.
Gouda something.
All right. Well, we're losing all of our Packer fans that were in here. So let's change the subject and start ripping on some of these other guys that are on our division. And maybe we'll lose some of our Bear fans that are in here with this one. But what I'm looking at, let me get my screen up here. I made a little thing here. So they put this thing out that said that, he's playing with a little chip here. So David Montgomery said that he was used to losing in Chicago, and it's a breath of fresh air to be right here in the D. So what do you think about that main event, Mike?
So let me get this straight. I'm sick of losing, so I'm going to Detroit, said no one ever.
Stop playing with us.
No one outside of Mark Aguirre has ever said that.
Oh, that's a fantastic.
Wait,
The problem I have here, though, is Bears fans taking exception with it. Like it was some sort of personal shot at them or some sort of shot at the Bears organization. I don't think it mattered if he came from the Houston Texans or the Arizona Cardinals. He could have said the exact same thing. It wasn't a shot at you. So calm down. I've seen a lot of Bears posts in these groups taking exception to that. He didn't say anything that wasn't true. They've been losing his entire career there, and he's right. Losing takes the fun out of it.
They haven't won. They haven't won a season since Mitch Trubisky left.
Wow, good take.
I mean, yeah, and they have a history now of trading up and an amazing amount of draft capital to get their guys, and I don't know if Justin Fields is that guy, a sub 50% thrower for his career, and you just expect him with a couple O linemen to just all of a sudden become a good passer. I think that Chicago fan might be living in La La Land a little bit too. I mean, I think he'll be better. He should be. I hope he's better.
He has better weapons.
I mean,
that should help. He has a slightly better O-line. Well, a tremendously better O-line than last year. I mean, but they still got lazy eye Tevin Jenkins that has a bad back.
Man,
and that came straight from a Chicago Bears fan that told me her nickname for him was lazy eye Tevin Jenkins.
My gosh, man, I'm glad. You better be lucky that we're not very popular on this show, because I might get back to him and you calling him that. It's a
female, and she helps run Detroit Lions on the Prowl.
Okay, well, then you saying that we should put our money on her over Tevin Jenkins?
Yes, I think she can block better than he does.
You think she could take him? Oh, I love it. Oh my gosh.
So Russ, did you say that we lost a bunch of Packer viewers because we were sitting here talking about how the Packers might not be great this year? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah.
Well, we gained some viewers as soon as we started talking about how bad the Chicago Bears are. So I think we're on the right path here.
That might be indicative. That might be indicative of what we're going to see this season. If the Packers start losing, you're going to see all these Packer fans hiding. They're going into witness protection with the Vikings.
Wait, no. Oh, it's not witness protection when you're losing. It's witless protection.
So we're a bunch of dumb Lion fans, and we've done nothing but talk about all the other fan bases. Wow, you guys are real tough. But we haven't talked about the Vikings yet. How about them Vikings, man? You're going to lose Dalvin Cook after June 1st, and they seem to think that the key to maintaining and winning the division again is to get rid of all of their good players. What do you think about that, Jeremy?
I think they might as well get rid of the mediocre Kirk Cousins.
Oh no, they need to get rid of all their pro guys. The all pro guys.
Trade away Harrison Smith, keep Justin Jefferson because that's a corner piece in the wide receiver room, and start the rebuild now.
What do you think about that main event, Mike? These Vikings, take a shot. Give me a good shot at them.
I think the Vikings still have a good offense. They have the best wide receiver in the league, in my opinion. They have a top 10 tight end. Alexander Madison's a serviceable running back, and they have basically the parallel universe Jared Goff under center. So they drafted Jordan Addison. So they've got Addison and Madison, but I think the defense is going to be Baddison.
Oh, man, that was a great take, main event, Mike. I cannot wait to cut that one up. Let me do a little station identification right here. This is the Main Event 365. Follow our Facebook page because that helps us. We need to get a reach of great football fans. There's 14 of you on here right now that are watching, and you guys have to be fans. There is no other reason that you're watching two talking heads and some dude on a phone talking about football other than that you are the most hardcore and awesome fan that there is, and we appreciate you. Subscribing to our YouTube channel, that also helps too. We appreciate it. Yes, and go like Smoking Jeremy B, and go subscribe to his YouTube channel because he's got great content as well, especially in May. We're the only ones that are crazy enough to be out here in May doing this thing. So we appreciate every single one of you.
My buddy DC8091 from my channel, because I'm streaming it to mine too, just said, let's continue to fleece the Vikings GM before they fire him.
Yeah, you must be Quezzy. Oh, Mike, I know that.
I think that whoever said that, that's a great take. Let's keep on fleecing the Vikings until they get rid of Quezzy. I mean, them having Quezzy's been one of the best things for the rest of the teams in this division, really.
They're going to lose.
He's made some terrible moves.
I predict that the Vikings, hey, Viking fan out here, I know you're in witness protection, but I know that you're listening. I know that you're listening right now. Viking fan, you are going to lose 6 division games this year. You are going to get beat down by every team in this division because you're the only team that got worse. All the other teams got better and you got worse. Viking fan. Gosh, it really reminds me of the second year of being a in the Matt Patricia regime for them. And I don't envy you guys at all. You know, Minnesota, it's a nice city. Took my son there last year. It was a game. You guys actually won that game. You shouldn't have won that game, but you did win that game. But we got our revenge when we pounded your faces in the second meeting at Ford Field and proved that we were the more dominant team. So let's go. These poor Minnesota Viking fans, I feel for them. Do you feel for them, Mike, or no?
Not a bit. They're the division champions.
Yeah, they're the division champions.
They've won the division. That's something that we have never done. We have never won the NFC North. So, no, I don't feel sorry for them a bit. Lions fans around the world don't feel sorry for them a bit. And, we're just a bunch of stupid Lion fans talking about the other teams in the division. That's what we do. And we're not going to apologize for that because this team is on the up, and it's a damn good time to have a Detroit Lions podcast.
Snowman Multimedia wants to call in an Indianapolis fan. That's a guy
an
from
Indianapolis man. Well, he can't call in while Main Event Mike is on here,
right?
But what I can do is I can put the link for the StreamYard back into. So if you guys want to pop on the show, the only way we can really do it is through the StreamYard because I'm not going to throw my personal phone number out there for everybody. Mike has that because me and Mike, we're cool like that, you know.
It's actually written on a bathroom stall at a Sunoco on Holly Road.
Yeah, and in the men's room says for a good time call this guy. In
the men's room,
what? Gosh, man, that got weird.
Playoffs.
Okay. Back.
I was just joking.
Back into the serious mode in here. So, well, let's just talk about our Lions then. I mean, I really think it is our division to lose, and I've been there, and a lot of people think that the Lions are overhyped. Okay, what have we done, really? And we are going to hit this on Monday. We need to hit this. We need to get the other fan bases involved. Every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time, we go and we argue about this stuff. We have a representative from every single team in the NFC North, except the Vikings because they're still in witness protection. But if there is a Viking fan out there that wants to represent what Quezzy's doing right now, or by God, even defend it somehow, I have no idea. I need to understand. You need to help me understand, Viking fan. You really need to help me understand why you think you're going to win the division again, or why you think that you're even going to be a competitive football team with all of the losses that you have, especially after Dalvin Cook. And we talked about that yesterday a little bit, Jeremy. Mike, what's your situation right now? How long do you got?
Well, Well, I got just a few more minutes, but I would like to say, as we talk about the Lions for a minute, and are they overhyped? Maybe they are, but if you look around this division, it's ripe for the taking. And we've got the roster to do it. And I think what separates us from the other three.
Okay.
There it went.
Well, what separates?
Hear me? I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Yep.
I think what does separate us from the other teams in the division is depth. Yes, Green Bay has a good defense. They have 8 number 1 draft picks on defense. Yes, they have a great running game and a young quarterback. But if one of those guys goes down, the next man up, they are not very deep. Chicago, they've made some great additions. Again, one guy goes down, who's the next man up? He's a nobody. And Minnesota on defense, they already have nobody starting. They literally have like 2 guys on their entire defense that could start on any other team in the league. So I think depth, you look up and down the Detroit Lions, Brad Holmes has done this thing right. Started on the offensive and defensive line, and we have depth at both positions. Losing Jameson Williams in the gambling scandal for the first 6 games, I don't even think is a blip on the radar because he never figured into the game plan last year. The Lions knew this was coming. They drafted Sam Laporta. They signed Marvin Jones to mitigate that loss that's going to happen in the first 6 weeks. So this Lions team is ready to roll. It'll be very disappointing if they come out of the gate with a losing record by the time they get to the bye.
I love that take, Mike. And really, honestly, we have to just kind of come to grips with that. And the rest of the NFC North really just has to come to grips with that because of where we're built. We're built to win a fight, guys. Everybody, if you want to talk about how great Jared Goff is going to be or not be or whatever, that's all fine. The thing is, with Frank Ragnow, Penei Sewell, Taylor Decker, Jonah Jackson, and Haloti Puri Vaitai, those guys are thugs. And they will come and they're going downhill and we're going to run over some teams. And we don't really have to justify it to anybody. Who the hell do you got on your defense that's going to stop us from doing that?
I've got one for you too. We've just added more depth to the O-line. We don't have to rely on Matt Nelson if a tackle goes down because we just signed Jermaine Ifriti, who's played tackle and guard.
Hey,
we still have Glasgow. We still have Jonah Jackson. I mean, Stenberg's here, but according to what we have on the roster, he might be on his way out.
Don't forget about Dan Skipper, the Gypsy King.
I thought he was let go in the offseason.
He probably was. That would hurt my feelings. I love seeing him every time he's out there with this big old 6'7" dude that's out
just
there.
Like you and I.
Oh, but he played tackle? Yeah, we need you to play guard. Okay.
And had the best game of his career.
And had the best game of his career, and that might have been his only good game. And then, we'll never hear him again.
It really was.
But
because that's why he was out of the roster a game and a half later.
Well, Mike is in the background. I know that he's got an appointment to get to. I want to let him get a parting shot if he wants to.
Yeah, absolutely. Detroit Lions against Kansas City Chiefs, week 1, Thursday night game, national television. If we win that game, I think we put the whole league on notice. Book it.
Wow. Are you saying that? Is that we're going to beat the Chiefs according to the main event,
no,
Mike?
I've already predicted we lose a close one in Kansas City.
Okay.
And I still believe that's what will happen. But I'm saying if we win that game, if we win week 1 against the defending champs, this Lions team cannot be poo-pooed anymore. They are for real. And it's going to be a very entertaining season, my friends.
All right, Mike. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on the phone. Go ahead, plug NFC North open mic, and then go ahead and say goodbye.
And for all you Lions fans out there, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. It's the main event on the main stage. It's an open mic night. And it's all Lions football. Our friend Jeremy B from the Biting Kneecaps group is usually there with us too. We've got some Greg Rice, the West Coast stat master. That's a half an hour of in-depth just talking about Detroit Lions football. And then 7 p.m. Eastern time, it's the NFC North open mic where we bring your thick skin, check your ego at the door because we're going to shred you, especially if you're one of the other fan bases. And if you don't like any of these things I'm saying, come on Monday night. Bring it. Let's do it.
Yeah, that's what I say. See, Super Bowl, here we come. Yeah, that's it. There's a little Homer talk right
There's
there.
the Homer talk. There's that Homer slappy.
God bless you.
Take care, guys. One pride.
One pride. God bless you, Mike Abraham. Ding, 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 ding. And I always love having you on here. Smoking Jeremy B, that because I just love talking football. I just couldn't get enough of it. And I ended up, the reason that we came up with this phone sessions thing was really just, I just got sick of calling people in the morning and talking football. I just wanted to push record while we did it and having good football. I was having these conversations with people. I just wasn't having them like in front of an audience or anything like that. We talk football every day.
Yeah.
And
people are saying, are we all in on Goff? We kind of have to be. Hendon Hooker is going to miss his first season because he's still recovering from a knee injury. And he should be redshirted. But what he is, and I'm going to say it again, and this is my only take on the Hendon Hooker pick. It was quite possibly the steal of the draft, but it is a negotiating tool to keep Goff from wanting to absorb it out.
Yeah, I love that. So, I mean, this right here is one of the big questions, right? I mean, this is something this is really, I think, where Jake's trying to get, are you all in on Goff? I think that we are all in on Goff. I mean, the Goffense, they wrote the Jared Goff and Ben Johnson wrote this offense together, and it's been successful. They understand each other. They understand the schematics of everything. But here's the thing, is Ben Johnson is not going to be an offensive coordinator forever. He's going to go on and he's going to become a head coach somewhere. And then we're going to have this stud of a quarterback that's been sitting behind this offense for the last however long it's going to take. I honestly think that he could be ready in the 1 year. I think that he would be ready to be a starting level quarterback with 1 full year behind a pro like Jared Goff. I think you would probably agree with me on that.
Ranting Q, I do agree with that. And the reason why I don't think Goff will be here next season is because Ben Johnson won't be. And if they're going to look for a new OC, why wouldn't you look for an OC that fits what you have on the roster for the backup?
Right. And here's the other question is the OC that we're going to replace Ben Johnson with, he could possibly be on the staff right now learning so that baton can be passed on.
Right. You're talking about the tight ends coach that was the passing game coordinator where he was before. So he's probably being groomed just as Ben Johnson was groomed.
For sure.
He also probably had an input on the QB we drafted.
Well, honestly, when
I would want that if I'm going to be the future OC.
Right. So what I'm going to say to that is I think that Brad Holmes is a tyrant to BPA, which would be the best player available. And I think that when it came up, there was such a big gap between Hendon Hooker and the next guy that I don't think it was like, we need to draft Hendon Hooker. I think it was like, guys, like, what are we gonna do? This Hendon Hooker's still here. Say, okay, let's take him because the value, best player available, the value is too good for us to pass up.
Now remember, when we had our bad start and we were just starting to get good in November, that was right when Hendon Hooker got hurt, and you were a guest on my show when I said if he's there in the 3rd round, I bet you Hendon Hooker's a Lion.
Yep. I Main Event Mike can definitely say that because it was I think it was the week right after it, and he was just like, he made a joke about it though. Mike was like, "Oh, torn ACL, sign him up, Hendon Hooker in the 3rd," and this was November. Like
right. I did it the first week in November because he got hurt the last week in October. But on an expiring contract at $35 million with the contracts that quarterbacks have right now, that is what the Hendon Hooker pick does, is it makes it so you can say, hey, we got a quarterback that's a little under $1 million a year right now to take over for you. So if you sign for anything more than what you're making at your highest right now, which is $35 million a year, guess what? You're gone.
Well,
that's what I would do if I was Matt Dunstall and Brad Holmes. That is exactly what I would do because that's the only way he becomes a tradable commodity. Because if he
But-
can be cut with no dead cap, nobody's going to trade for him.
I wouldn't understand. I mean, I don't understand that logic of it just because it makes him very valuable if there's no dead cap. I mean, if there's zero dead cap, they would absolutely want to trade for him because it's a low contract and they would probably give more for it to get him to have control.
I think pretty soon we're going to see something to reel the QB prices back in.
Yeah.
Game manager QBs are never going to make as much as an athletic or an elite QB.
And that's
Goff
fine.
is close. Goff is close, but he's not elite. He's just very good. And that's where I'm going to put him at. He's in the very good category. Kirk Cousins is in the very good category, but can't win a primetime or playoff game.
Well, I mean, but the Jared Goff, that's a fun argument between a pocket passer and an exciting player, because that's what most people mean by upper echelon quarterback is I want a guy that can escape the pocket when things break down, and I want to be able to make something happen. And I'm okay with Goff. Goff is a great distributor. I think he's an elite. I think he's an elite play action and distributor quarterback, but that doesn't get style points. It doesn't look as good as some guy doing a little spin move out of the backfield and running and throwing a little sidearm guy.
A couple times when there was pressure on Goff, he did spin out of a couple of them.
Yeah, I think that Jared Goff is fantastic within the pocket, knowing where his offensive linemen are to be able to step up into a pocket, pull to the outside, and still make the throw, keep his eyes downfield. Goff is very good at that type of stuff, where they're talking about this Justin Fields guy. He hasn't even proven he can do that yet. That dude will pull down and run with guys wide open like that. He could get great passing stats, but no, he wants to run with the football. But yeah,
defense, a lot of those
so
guys that were wide open when he did throw it did drop it. So I understand wanting to run first.
We spent a lot of time. Anytime Goff gets brought up, we spend some time on that. So William says Ragnow is a maniac. His toe injury from last year is inoperable. Not enough healthy tissue. He played through the whole season. So with that being said, William, that is bad news. That sucks for Ragnow, but dude's a beast. So
thank God we got Glasgow back on the roster, because when he filled in for Tyler Swanson that year when he got hurt, he did a great job at center. So,
yeah, but mentally, and I'm just going to address this like that. Ragnow, he is a maniac. The toe injury from last year, even if he does get injured again, this dude will play through it like he played through it before. And mentally, knowing that it is inoperable and that you're going to have to deal with the pain, that'll help him deal with the pain, knowing that it's not something that he's got to get through. It's just something he's just got to deal with. So, we have a great offensive line. We have a great depth pieces behind the offensive line. We can go late into the season. So let's see. The Lions haven't proven or won anything. They missed the playoffs last season and still in the bottom 5, and the defense and the offense legit, but that's it. Okay.
See, now, that's to get to the 5th worst from where they started those first 7 games. They had to play at a top 15 level. The statistics are there.
So there's the rebuttal to that, Rashad. So, I mean, and I agree with Jeremy on this. Like, if you're counting a 1-6 start, right? That was an awful start. And that was not just bad. That was
historically bad.
It was so bad. The secondary was so awful. I mean, we had guys like James Houston who hadn't even suited up. Josh Pascal hadn't even suited up. And these guys were invested capital that have we have big expectations for this year. So for you to say that a bottom 5 defense, if that's what you want to call it, I don't know if you're a Packer fan or a Bear fan, but I hope that your coaching staff views it as a bottom 5 defense.
I hope it's a Packer fan, because they had a bottom 6 defense.
Well, we're nothing right here in the NFC North. We are nothing but a bunch of hypocrites, including us Lions fans. I'll be there. I concede that the Lions have shown improvements. I think QB might be a liability. I completely disagree with that, Jack. Like QB is not going to be a liability because you have a top 10 quarterback statistically right now. And then you have the possibly, arguably the best college quarterback from last year that's sitting on your bench. I think our quarterback situation might be top 5 in the league right now between first and second string quarterbacks. Now, I understand that Hooker won't be available for the first. He may not be available right away, but then again, he might be available right away. Hey, I got my first bill on a shirt. All right.
I got my bill on a t-shirt. Oh, okay.
Is that okay? Hooker
Hooker.
will have to be patient. Well, yeah, he's the Goffense. Yeah. The Goffense. The Goffensive coordinator. And
Shout
the
out to Coach Dante. He's of Sports Empire Network. I was on his NBA show yesterday morning and even got some Lions fans to ask me some questions on there. So that was pretty cool.
What up? Okay, I like your take on Goff, but if his play slips a little, how fast are you willing to move on? Let's say that you lose the first 4, unlikely to happen. Well, if we lose the first 4, then, I mean, for one, you got to analyze why you lost those first 4. I mean, was it Goff's fault or was it our bottom 5 defense that, I mean, who knows what's actually going to happen in that? So how quickly would I move on? I would
Next
move
year
on.
At the earliest.
I would move on the minute that Hendon Hooker gives you a better chance to win football games.
Which will be when he's healthy.
But you don't know that yet. I mean, this is a Tennessee offense that he came from.
That villain shirt. He got his villain t-shirt.
Ah, nice.
Nice.
But I mean, you guys discussed this on David Pike's show the other day about Hendon Hooker is coming from an offense that is not very pro friendly, right? So his learning curve is going to be a little bit longer.
That was his only year in that offense. He just learned that offense, came in, had to learn a new offense, and played better than he did his previous 2 seasons out at Virginia.
See, you and I have a different delivery, and we're going to learn each other how that says.
And I'm going to go where he's a fast learner is what I'm getting at. And if he's a fast learner, that means he can adjust. He's a very smart QB, and he makes great decisions, which is half the problem of kids coming out of college. You can have all the greatest mechanics in the world, but if you have the decision making of Zach Wilson,
right,
the only thing you're going to be good at is banging bombs, not throwing bombs.
But you know, one of the things I really loved about Hendon Hooker, and it was like he made news in the Detroit Lions rookie mini camp, and he didn't throw a pass, didn't do anything. He was known for going around dabbing people up, like, you know, giving them high fives and being a leader, doing all the things that leadership, so much to the point that it was noticed by national media. Like, look at this kid. This kid oozes leadership. People want to be around this kid. So there's no doubt. I believe you. I think that this kid is special. I think he was the best quarterback out of this class. And I was so happy to be able to get it. I almost shed a tear a little bit thinking that the future is in the hand of a guy that I think is a clean cut version of Deshaun Watson. Like, I mean, straight up talent all over, oozes it.
As long as he doesn't ask for 1 million massage therapists the first year, I'm good.
So when you say that you want to
Stop playing with us.
Oh man. So if you're looking for the answer, like I want what's best for the Detroit Lions. That's I'm a fan. And if you're a Packer fan or you're a Viking or a Bear fan, that's what you want. You want what's best for your team. If you got a situation like this, it's good, man. It's good. And it usually takes a couple years for a quarterback to develop, right? I think that this kid is smart enough that he might only need to take 2023. He might be good to go. I'm in your camp right there. I think he will be good to go as a starting level quarterback year 2, just by what I've seen so far. Villain
he's-
shirt.
Yep.
I would just listen. Preach, Jay. He wants
And
you.
Yeah. Hey, let me go another step here. With the new rule about being able to keep a third QB on the roster without it counting against your 53-man roster or the cap.
Shoot. You just reminded me. I forgot.
Yeah, I was
Oh
waiting
my
for it.
God, man.
Now wait,
Go ahead.
with that happening, we have 2 UDFA QBs technically. One isn't listed as a QB though. Katoan Thompson. Katoan Thompson. He
Okay.
started out as a QB at Virginia, then played running back, then played fullback, then played tight end, and then ended up at wide receiver because he shed 20 pounds.
Does that sound like a Dan Campbell guy or what?
That sounds like a Brad Holmes versatility guy.
Yeah.
So with Hendon Hooker having an injury and not being ready to play this year, I think they could add Kate.
Thanks, Jack. That yeah, I'm dead. That's good. That's
Yeah.
good.
Hey, all I know is we got an expensive call girl at a downtown rate hooker price.
That's what we have. That's exactly what we have right there. We got Jameson Williams with a gambling problem and a quarterback named Hooker. So
Isn't it great? Now all we need is either a tight end or a wide receiver next year in the draft named Blow.
Oh, come
Hooker
on.
goes
man.
deep to Blow.
Oh my gosh, we're doing the Pulp Fiction version of Main Event 365 right here with Smoking Jeremy B from biting the kneecaps. Oh my
I'm
gosh.
just glad we didn't end up with that tight end out of Old Dominion.
Oh my gosh.
Did you see if Hooker was throwing to him next year?
I really dig what the Lions did in this offseason. I just can't wait to see and I hope that I'm not disappointed. I don't know if you're a Lion fan out there, just kind of how you feeling. If you are a Lion fan, are you feeling the confidence, or is the PTSOL going to start to set in as the season starts and you start getting all scared and you're waiting?
Jeff Buckler asked a good question. He said, "Hey guys, thanks for your podcast. I just saw that Gibbs was involved in OTAs. Is Gibbs signed yet? And is it normal for rookies to part? OTAs are not mandatory; they're voluntary. So if they want to play, even though they're not signed yet, they can. They are a part of the roster because they were drafted. They cannot go anywhere else. So they either sign here or they end up going back into the draft next year."
Okay. That is and that is that's an interesting way to look at it. Now they did say he did participate in the rookie minicamp and had a little tweak of an injury. Everybody's trying to overblow that. I don't think it's a big deal. If he's sitting out of OTAs, I think it probably.
No, he didn't sit out. He played.
Oh, he did play in OTAs.
That's what he's saying. He was involved, and was he under contract yet? And I was explaining why they could be at OTAs, not under contract.
That's not that big of a deal. I mean,
they have to be there. They have to be signed before they can do the mandatory camps. That's all it is. And we got another month yet.
Right. Yeah. And with him going into OTA, really, you're just installing your offense and defense. You're kind of bringing everybody up to speed, kind of give them the ideas of where they're going to be lining up and stuff like that. They're not doing anything hardcore, no hard cutting, no hitting. There's nothing like that during the OTAs. Just trying to figure out what type of team we're going to be. I hope for your sake the name Hooker isn't okay. All right. With Goff and same Lions fans, your patient and determination is stellar. Also, clubs will
talking about actual golf, not golf.
Okay.
Golf.
Okay.
I get it. Yeah, clubs will fly because all you got to do is hook one into the woods and take a penalty or put one in the water.
Yeah. Well, see, he must have been watching me play golf. So that's kind of like my game.
Yeah.
Is
I was called a hooker in golf because nothing went straight.
Or should I use the shooter McGavin? That he spends more time in the sand than David Hasselhoff. yuck. Oh man, I think that we are up against it, man. We actually, it seems like every day I feel like I'm not going to have enough to talk about when it comes to football. And then the whole hour flies by, and I'm like, oh my God, I could probably talk for another half an hour easily. But I do have to get my son off the bus. So, any parting shots for you before I close these guys out?
I'm going to be doing my same thing I did last year. I'm going to do my over-under parlay. I won my parlay last year. And when everybody said before the offseason I was delusional, I went over on the Vikings, over on the Lions, and under on the Bears and Packers. I didn't see an 11-win team with the Packers. That's where they were at. They were supposed to be an 11-win team preseason. I didn't see it.
Right.
I did see over 6.5 wins for the Lions. I did see over 9 wins for the Vikings. Did I know it was going to be a bunch of lucky close games at the end that they'd win? No, but I did see over 9 wins for them.
Well, there is no doubt that you're one of the smartest football fans that are out there. I'm not trying to be smart or anything. I'm right sometimes, but I'm mostly wrong most of the time, and I'm okay with that. I'll get smarter as the time goes along. But for everybody that's listening out there, we appreciate you that you are listening. You can follow the Main Event 365 right here on any of these Facebook deals, or subscribe to the YouTube channel, because all of that stuff helps. It just helps us reach more people. And if you know some avid football fans that actually want to talk football in May, go ahead and send them the link to this. So for Jeremy B, Smoking Jeremy B, I am Russell Wayne. God bless each and every one of you. We'll see you on the flip side.
Thanks to everybody in this.